So the NVIDIA RTX 50 series rumors are starting to heat up, and that means it may affect some pricing for 40 series. I see a lot of people just flat out aren't buying a GPU now in anticipation of what's to come. Now, the 5090 looks like it's going to be, of course, top of the range, super powerful. There have even been reports that NVIDIA is making a 5090D. That's going to be specifically to go to China, because right now, even the 4090, because of its power with AI, with its VRAM, it's powerful enough to be banned from going into China. Now, the other GPUs like the 4080 aren't, and there is a 4090D. Originally, it was D for the Year of the Dragon that they kind of developed, so that way it can come in right under the the requirements, so it's not banned. So it looks like they're going to be doing the same thing for a 5090D. And now let's hear a word from our sponsor, VIP-CDKdeals.com, a Windows Pro CD key. Add to cart, you put in code CC20. This will also work on Windows 11. You want to go into your settings in Windows, change and adjust your CD key, click activate, and now let's go back to the video. Now, how are prices for 4090s on the secondhand market? I took a look recently, and a lot of them have been coming down below MSRP. Remember, even used 4090s for a very long time were between $1,500 to $2,000 at least. They never really, moved much from that price point. But now I've seen a lot more under $1,599. So sometimes $1,300, maybe $1,200 to $1,400 depending on the model. And of course, the Founders Edition continues to stay pretty high in price comparatively to like third-party AIB GPUs, just because that one seems to be like the harder one to get. But the 4090 is one thing, and obviously that price is going to go down pretty hard when the 5090 is released. Even though it's still going to be an amazing GPU, 5090, especially for high-end enthusiasts, are probably going to sell their GPUs to be able to upgrade if they can get a 5090 when it comes out. I think it's going to be a GPU that's going to, remind us of the shortages from a few years ago, because it's not only gamers who want a 5090, it's gamers, content creators, machine learning, AI, any type of productivity. It really is going to be a powerhouse GPU. That points us to what likely will end up being the real high-end, like practical GPU, if you can call it that. Probably the 5080 and even the 5070 as it is now. And yes, I'm calling the 5070 high-end because even a 4070 Super, I had it hooked up to a 4K monitor, and especially with DLSS 3, it doesn't do that bad. 12 gigabytes of VRAM is an obvious limitation, but in certain games, it actually, you can get respectable frame rates, and it's even with like ultra graphics if you have DLSS 3 and things like that. So that's not bad at all for that price. So then we extrapolate that to a 5070, which definitely will be a lot more powerful than the 4070. Maybe it might be at least like a 4080 level or something like that, albeit with the same amount of VRAM, only 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So that's going to be interesting. Now, the pricing of the 4070, not the Super one, the regular 4070, seems like it's been going down under $500 now, maybe $499. That's certainly pretty interesting. And then obviously the pressure from AMD, like a 7800 XT, will have an impact there. Not to mention the price of the 4070 Super coming down below $600. So that's pretty interesting. It should be a pretty interesting end of year. Of course, the NVIDIA GPUs that are high-end will likely be announced and released first, like a 5090 and 5080, but even those will help to push down the price of like 4070s, for example, because then the 4080s and 4070 Ti's, those high-end GPUs currently out now, are going to start to go down in price because of the new products coming out, therefore kind of, reducing the price of everything else on the market. So I don't blame people for not buying a GPU now because the market's been a little bit stagnant, been a little bit boring. These GPUs came out a long time ago, and the prices are still fairly elevated, even with some of these discounts like the 4070 under $500. We don't really see any more substantial retailer discounts, and unless you're going for a used GPU, it's hard to get a really, really good price. That's just the nature of GPUs. It's both good and bad. Their retail value, or their resale value rather, stays generally, pretty decent recently. Like if you bought a GPU for a fair price and you weren't gouged, most likely a year or two later, you may be able to sell it for not too far off what you bought it for. Now, obviously, the exception is when a new series comes out, such as the RTX, 50 series, especially if it's really good, that's going to drop the prices down of the GPUs faster. If it ends up being kind of lukewarm, or if people can't get the GPUs, then the prices will stay a lot more stable. We saw this happen with the 2080 Ti, and then later, of course, with the 30 series, with all of the shortages and things like that. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on the pricing of these GPUs as we get closer. And let me know if you're planning on buying a 50 series GPU, or maybe even getting a good deal on a 40 series when prices go down later in the year. All right, guys, so remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.